we dedicate our session to His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, who is the founder Acharya of International Society of Krishna Consciousness. And you will be knowing that today is the disappearance day of Srila Prabhupada. He finished his pastime on this earthy planet and went back to Godhead on this very day in Vrindavan. We are on chapter 12 of Bhagavad Gita, titled as Devotional Service. We are on the last section of this chapter, verse number 13 to 20, qualities that endear one to Lord Krishna. So the flow of the chapter was, first was Arjuna inquired, who is better, impersonalist or devotees? And Krishna answered that definitely those who engage their mind and intelligence in serving Krishna are the best, and Krishna personally takes care of such devotees and he delivers them from this material existence. And then in the last session, we learned about the multiple stages at which bhakti can be practiced. So if bhakti is the best process, somebody may think that I cannot practice that. Okay, I cannot 24 hours think of Krishna. So Krishna said, okay, if you're not comfortable with this level, he told us various others level. At least you do sadhana bhakti, try to engage your mind. And if you're not able to do that also, then try to work for me. By working for Krishna, by doing some practical service for Krishna, we will be able to achieve perfection later. And if you are not able to do this also, then Krishna says, okay, at least do some charity for Krishna consciousness. Like we can help in building temples. If we have some land, we can ask devotees to utilize that. We can have some hall, we can ask devotees to take use of that, some truck, something like that. We can at least help those who are preaching. If we directly ourselves are not able to do service. And Krishna is so merciful that he brought the ladder of devotion down and down, and he said, if you're not able to do this also because of some family foundations, social foundations, then at least try to give up the results, like try to do some charity, rise above selfishness, help others. So you can give charity to hospitals or some anathalayas and like that. So that joy of giving will rise you to a platform of knowledge, and slowly by indirect process, when you realize that there is so much happiness in giving, and you will gain knowledge that you are not this body, you are eternal soul, and then you can rise up to the level of meditation, and slowly then you can come up to devotional service. So these were the progressive stages of bhakti which we discussed last time. Now, today we will discuss that, okay, we have to practice devotional service. Now, devotional service can also, like it is love for Krishna, but it doesn't mean that that love can be at equal level. We see where devotees also at different stages of their devotional activities. We say, oh, that is Kanishta Adhikari, that is Madhyam Adhikari, and that is Uttam Adhikari. Why? Because they have certain qualities that they have developed in themselves, and some of them are still trying to develop, and some of them are so neophytes, so they may not have such good qualities. So that love for Krishna can also be at various levels. So today we will see that we should strive to develop these good qualities when we become devotees. Okay, we have come to Krishna consciousness. That doesn't mean that we will all of a sudden become a good person and we will become humble, we will become free from pride. No, we have to endeavor for them. We have to really work hard so that slowly we can develop good qualities. And as we progress in our devotional life, if we have these qualities, that will make us dearer to Krishna more and more. So we will study about these qualities today. So we have learned that Bhakti Yoga is the most effective path of spiritual advancement. A Bhakti Yogi exhibits transcendental qualities which makes him dear to Krishna. Krishna is pleased with such devotee, as he describes in this section by using the word Priya in most verses. We will be seeing that most of these verses Krishna is using Bhakti Man Me Priya, means such a devotee who have these qualities is very, very dear to me. Now, Prabhupada, in one of the purport of these verses, says that a devotee, when is engaging himself in devotion service unto Krishna, then he need not endeavor like separately to develop these qualities, but because a devotee will automatically develop these good qualities in himself. Why? Because when a devotee has knowledge, he has the knowledge about Krishna and himself. Okay, he's clear that he's a soul and his eternal service is to engage in the service of Lord Shri Krishna. He is a soul and not this body. And when he reminds himself again and again at every step that he is a soul, then he have to behave like a soul. Then he have to not act on the level of bodily platform. So whenever these anarthas comes in us, like lust, anger, greed, pride, we will feel a block. No, I should not exhibit this anger. I'm a devotee of the Lord. So we will remind ourselves again and again, and slowly we will see that as we develop our attachment to Krishna, as we are moving ahead in bhakti, we will feel ourselves calm, happy, peaceful. Why? Because we will develop these good qualities in ourselves. Like sometimes we see that materialistic people, they also have good qualities. They are humble, and sometimes they are so like egoless. They are not egoistic and all. But what is the difference between a devotee having these qualities and a materialistic having these qualities? A materialistic person has no connection with Krishna. He has that good qualities based on his own self-conception. That yes, I want to be good, I want to be famous, I should develop these good qualities, I should be a good person. All that are on mental platform. All that are on material platform. Because just having these good qualities and not having that connection with Krishna will ultimately not help him. That because that is ultimately all temporary. We know that if it is on the material platform and we are not connecting these qualities to Krishna and Krishna's devotees, then it will we will not be able to nourish them forever. It will not become eternal. So that is the difference when a devotee strives to get this good qualities in himself. So the qualities that endear one to Lord Shri Krishna. Somebody will read this two verses.
I will read Mataji.
13 and 14.
I will read. Hare Krishna. Transcendental qualifications of a pure devotee.
Hare Krishna. We are not able to hear you.
Okay, Mataji. Okay. Are you able to hear now, Mataji?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Sorry. Hare Krishna. Transcendental qualifications of a pure devotee. Adveshta sarva bhutanam maitra karuna evacha nimmamo nirahankaraha samadukha sukhachami santushta satatam yogi yatatma drudha nischayah mayyarpita mano buddhir yo madbhakta same priyah. One who is not envious, but is a kind friend to all living entities, who does not think himself a proprietor and is free from false ego, and who is equal both in happiness and distress, who is tolerant, always satisfied, self-controlled, and engaged in devotional service with determination. His mind and intelligence fixed on me. Such a devotee of mine is very dear to me.
Thank you, Shanmugh. So we see so many good qualities Krishna has mentioned in these two verses. And he's saying a devotee who has all these good qualities is very dear to me. Sometimes when we see pure devotees like Maharaj and all, when we have darshan of them, then we sometimes think, oh, they are so pure, they are so humble, they are so calm. Oh, it's not possible for me to reach at that stage. And we are stuck on that feeling. We think it that they have these qualities are there in them because they are so elevated. I cannot have these qualities. But that is not true. Maybe in our last life also we thought about like that only, and we were stuck and we were not able to develop new good qualities in ourselves, and we were not able to rise ourselves in devotional service, and we have to take birth again. So we should not make that mistake again. It's not that these devotees who are pure and have good qualities have not worked hard to be like that. They must have struggle. For getting something material, we have to work so hard, we have to struggle. Then these qualities, if they are like that, they have worked upon it for so many years. So many Prabhupada disciples, they are in this mission for last 50 years. And over these years, they have become so close to Krishna. And because they have become so close to Krishna, we can see so many good qualities in them. And one day, if we are really sincere and serious, these two words, if we are sincere and serious, then we will also try to develop, try to cultivate these qualities in ourselves. Devotion service is not cheap. It will not come without our endeavors. We have to put day and out our endeavor to control the anarthas we have. The anarthas we have learned so many times, that this envy, this comparison which we have in our heart, that sense of false ego, that is the major barrier between us and Krishna. So a devotee will never want or desire that these anarthas, this envy, this ego should come between them and Krishna. And for that, he has to take them out, as we have to take the weeds out of a field. So that's why these are the weeds in our heart, which we have to slowly and slowly pluck and throw them out. And since we see so many devotees having these qualities, we should have a hope that one day, if we try hard, we become sincere and serious, then definitely we will also develop compassion. We will also become free from envy towards all living entities. So Advaishta, who is not envious towards anybody. And see, in material world, what is the main problem? People are envious. If they think, they become sad when they think that their neighbor has much more than themselves. If a neighbor has 2 cars, we will think, oh, I should have 3 cars. So that is the level of materialistic people. They want more and more depending on what others have, because they are so much envious. So devotees should try themselves to become free from envy. And how it will happen? When we know that every living entity is part and parcel of Krishna. And this is a negative emotion, being envy. Okay, we have to free from a negative emotion, but we have to go beyond that. We are not only not envious, but we become a kind friend to all. We are very compassionate to all living entities. We behave as their friends. Why? Because we want them also to come closer to Krishna. We go and preach. Why? Because of compassion, and because we think that the other living entity is also part and parcel of Krishna. and behave like a friend to that living entities, not like an enemy. Okay, so, and why this feeling comes in us? Because we are niramamo nirahankar. This was also used in chapter 2.71 and 72, where Krishna says a devotee, a devotee is nirmama. Nirmama means he does not think himself to be a proprietor of anything. Okay, he doesn't think that this belongs to me. He's above the concept of me and mine, because he has learned from Bhagavad Gita that Bhoktaram Yagyatapsam Sarvalok Mahesham. Krishna is the ultimate proprietor and bhokta, benefactor of everything. I'm just a tiny soul, and we should remember how we can get free from this false ego. Yesterday, we went to Narsimha Girdhari temple, where His Holiness Rompad Swami Maharaj visited, and he was giving a lecture on Manashiksha. And somebody asked him a question that, give me some practical tips how to get free from this false ego. Day-to-day basis, we will think this is mine, and if somebody comes and takes it, oh, this is my pen, this is my house, this is my car. Even devotees, they are not free from this. So she was asking some practical tips from Maharaj, and Maharaj replied by a short Prabhupada story. He said, once a devotee asked him that, Maharaj, how should we free ourselves from this ego? Then Prabhupada answered him that only when you realize that from Mahavishnu, so many, his pores, so many universes are emanating, and from so many universes, so many planets are there, and from so many planets, one is earthly planet, and in that earthly planet, there are so many countries, and you are living in USA, and in that country, you are living in a small city, and you are just a tiny soul, so small in front of that Lord Shri Krishna, who is creating all these universes in a one moment of section. So realize that how tiny you are in front of Krishna, and that feeling can free yourself from that false ego. So this ego and envy, we have to get rid of it. Then we have already discussed this, that devotee is equipoised in happiness and distress. Matra sparshastu kantaya sitoshna sukha agma paino nityastam sitishwa bharata. He knows that as winter has come, summer will also come. So both happiness, one day I'm happy, then distress is to follow, because this is material world. It's all temporary, whether it is happiness or distress. That's why he rise himself above from this concept, from these dualities. He gets free from these dualities. And whether happiness is there, if he is happy, is in happy situation, he utilizes that situation for serving Krishna. We have discussed this before. And when some sorrow comes in his life, some distress comes in his life, some misery comes in his life, then he thinks that it is in fact a mercy from Krishna, because I would have deserved much more. Krishna has reduced it because I am a devotee. So that is his feeling. And that's why he becomes so tolerant. He tolerates the difficulty in challenges in his life. He is Shami. Shami is like, he is so forgiving. Shama. In Hindi, we say Shama. Shama means he forgives easily. He forgives the offenses which somebody has done towards him. We will see in the future, in the next slides. And then he's always santushtaha satatam yogi. He's always satisfied in his devotional service unto Krishna, and is continuously satatam performing that yoga of devotional service. Yatatatma drid nishchaya. Yatatma means he's self-controlled. Self-control, we have learned so many times that we have to control our senses and mind. These senses are like serpents, and we have to cut hoods. Otherwise, we cannot practice devotional life. So the basic requirement is we have to control our senses. Even getting up in the morning requires so much of self-control. A mind will say, no, sleep for some more time. But if we want, we know the joy of doing the chanting in the morning. So definitely all of us are getting a daily routine and chanting Krishna's name. That requires so much of control. And then we are very determined, because without determination, it's not possible to daily do the same sadhana. So devotee has firm determination, and that's why he's able to practice these limbs of bhakti. Without determination, it's not possible. And Krishna says that a devotee who has developed all these good qualities will be able to fix his mind and intelligence on me. And he will become very, very dear to me. We have learned the first, like topmost devotees are those who are automatically, naturally able to fix their mind and intelligence on Krishna. So that is the highest level of devotion. And Krishna before has also says, Ye atha mam prapadante tam satev bhajamayam. To the degree one reciprocates, Krishna responds. So here we may say that Krishna is not partial, Krishna is reciprocal. So to the extent we will develop these qualities, to that extent we will be away from these material things. And to that extent we'll become more and more prior to Krishna. Because Krishna reciprocates depending on our surrender. And if we are developing these good qualities, that means our surrender is increasing. And when our surrender is increasing, our mind will become focused on Krishna. And we will become very, very dear to Krishna. So we have taken some Prabhupada's direct lines from purport of this 2 verses. Now somebody will read that.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Ramya.
A pure devotee is never disturbed in any circumstances, nor is he envious of anyone, nor does a devotee become his enemy's enemy. He thinks this person is acting as my enemy due to my own past misdeeds. Whenever a devotee is in distress or has fallen into difficulty, he thinks that it is the Lord's mercy upon him.
Thank you, Ramyaji. So here we have depicted a picture of Amrish Maharaj's story. We all know Durvasha Muni and Amrish Maharaj's story. So, like Durvasha Muni offended Amrish Maharaj, but he did not take that offense and he forgave him. So that's why we have seen that a devotee is tolerant as well as shami. He forgives so easily. Durvasa Muni is a Brahman and he is a Kshatriya. Durvasa Muni got so angry when he drank water. He didn't wait for him. And he produced such a big demon and wanted to kill Amrish Maharaj. But Krishna's Sudarshan Chakra came to save Amrish Maharaj. He killed that demon. And then that Sudarshan Chakra was behind Sudarshan Muni, behind Durvasa Muni. And nobody was able to save Durvasa Muni from the Sudarshan Chakra. He went to Brahmalok, Shivalok, Vishnulok. Nobody was able to save him. But ultimately, he came running to Amrish Maharaj. And Amrish Maharaj just asked Sudarshan Chakra to withdraw himself and he forgave Durvasa Muni. So even if somebody is like to that extent is going, a devotee of a Lord never gets angry and he forgives others. So this is the glory of a devotee. And these stories are there in Bhagavatam to teach us a lesson that we should also strive to develop these good qualities. Then here Prabhupada explains about Nirmama. Somebody will read this?
I'll read, Mataji.
Yes, Krishna.
Nirmama means that a devotee does not attach much importance to the pains and trouble pertaining to the body because he knows perfectly well that he is not the material body. He does not identify with the body. Therefore, he is freed from the conception of false ego and is equipoised in happiness and distress. He is tolerant and he is satisfied with whatever comes by the grace of the Supreme Lord. Thank you.
So he does not have that sense of proprietorship because he knows that he is not this body and anything related to this body is temporary. And he's satisfied with whatever comes. Like we see a devotee will not never do extra endeavor to get more and more. By the grace of the Lord, he knows that whatever is good for him, Krishna will supply. That shows his 100% dependence on Krishna. And why is that? A small example. Suppose we have 5 rupees with us. Okay. And that is all in all with us. We will be so much attached to that 5 rupees. And if we lose that 5 rupees, we will be so despondent. We will lament so much because that is the all we have. So that is equivalent to that material things we possess. And suppose we have this 5 rupees in one hand, but 5 crore rupees in another hand. And now, since we have 5 crore rupees with us, this 5 rupees is so insignificant. We will so easily give it to beggar, or if we lose it, we will not ever even think of it. Not even think of it because that is very insignificant in front of us. So this 5 rupees is like material pleasures, and this 5 crore rupees is like our supreme attraction towards Krishna, supreme wealth of Krishna consciousness. So a devotee has that wealth. He is a devotee of the Lord who is serving Krishna. So that's why he does not, is not affected by these material gains and pains. Because he knows that Krishna has promised, Na me bhakta pranashati. My bhakta will never perish because Krishna personally endeavors. Teshaham samudharta. He will take us from this material sagar. And he knows that whatever is necessary for his maintaining his body and soul together will always be provided by Krishna. He doesn't care for that. And he is free from false ego. He can do any menial service for the pleasure of Krishna. Like in this picture, we have already, I think, told you the story of Prataprudra Maharaj. Prataprudra Maharaj was the king of Odisha. And there is a pratha in Jagannath Puri that whenever Rath Yatra starts, we have to swipe we have to broom the area in front of Lord Jagannath's cart. And King Prataprudra was the first one to sweep with a broom whenever Lord Jagannath's Rath Yatra used to happen. So he never thought that I'm king of Odisha and I will not do this Shudra service. No, he knew that Lord Jagannath is the Lord of the universe. He is the proprietor of everything. Everything belongs to him and I am just his servant. And in that mood, he used to sweep the area, the road. So that is the quality of a devotee. Somebody will read this.
He does not endeavor much to achieve something with great difficulty. Therefore, he is always joyful. He is a completely perfect mystic because he is fixed in the instructions received from the spiritual master. And because his senses are controlled, he is determined. He is fully conscious that Krishna is the eternal Lord, so no one can disturb him.
Thank you, Ashok. So now we have discussed this already, and here we can see the photograph of Parikshit Maharaj and Sukhdev Goswami. We know that Parikshit Maharaj was a great king and he was cursed by Shringi. And so he was also so forgiving, and he did not took that offense. Otherwise, he must have counter-cursed Shringi. He accepted it as the will of the Lord that he has to die in 7 days, and he joyfully accepted that curse. And he thought of what to do in these 7 days. He did not lament it and then sat down and he's crying all day. Oh, I will die in 7 days. No. He just utilized that 7 days in hearing the pastimes of Lord Shri Krishna. And that is how Bhagavatam came. And Sukhdev Goswami, He heard from Sukadeva Goswami, he heard Bhagavatam 7 days and 7 nights without worrying for drinking, eating, anything. And that was how he passed his last 7 days of life and went back to Godhead. So devotee is so forgiving, and he utilizes whatever situation comes in his life to further increase his devotional practices. This is something somebody will like to read. Padmaji will read. Krishna. Anybody else? Okay.
Yeah, I can read Hare Krishna. Senses are controlled. He is determined. He is not swayed by false arguments, because no one can lead him from the fixed determination of devotional service. He is fully conscious that Krishna is the eternal Lord, so no one can disturb him. All these qualifications enable him to fix his mind and intelligence entirely on the Supreme Lord. Such a standard of devotional service is undoubtedly very rare, but a devotee becomes situated in that stage by following the regulative principles of devotional services.
Thank you, Santosh. So he's yatatma, he's self-controlled. Nobody can sway him from false arguments. He will remain fixed in his devotional service. And definitely, there's a long way for us to go to develop all these good qualities, because we have learned that Krishna loves everybody. Even if somebody is sinful and some devotee falls down or something happens, he has told to Arjuna that declare to this world, my devotee never perishes. So we know that we are children of Krishna, and Krishna loves each and every living entity. But love can also be at different levels. Loving does not mean that we trust. Okay, so to develop that trust in Krishna, we have to develop these good qualities. Then only we will become dear to Krishna. So love has to be gone, like it has to go along with trust, faith in Krishna, in devotional service. And when Krishna sees our faith, our sincerity, then he reciprocates accordingly. This is the translation of verse number 50. And we have depicted pictures of Prahlad Maharaj here. In 15 verse also Krishna says that he by whom no one is put into difficulty and who is not disturbed by anyone, who is equipoised in happiness and distress, fear and anxiety is very dear to me. And we also know that a devotee will never put anybody in difficulty. Now somebody like nobody should be in anxiety or some agitation or distress due to a devotee. But now sometimes we may feel that when we are approaching people, these persons who are not in Krishna consciousness, they get agitated. When we say, oh, buy this book, take Gita, they will feel, oh, this person is coming and disturbing me. Oh, why he's preaching me? Why he's asking me to come to temple? Why he's asking me to join Gita course? We are calling so many persons, and sometimes they feel annoyed. Why? And they will not pick up phone also. And they don't respond nicely. So we may think, no, in this way we are disturbing others. We are putting somebody else into difficulty. But that is not the case. Here, when a devotee is approaching a person, we have to see his intention. His intention is to heal that person. And it should be done properly. There should be a proper execution when we approach other people for preaching. If our intention is right, our execution is proper, Krishna will give us results. Krishna will give us results. For example, when a surgeon is going to do surgery, okay, at that time, he may cause more pain to that person by cutting his body with a knife. But the person also knows and the surgeon also knows this is good for that person, and ultimately it will heal him of that problem. Similarly, devotees are also acting as an instrument in Krishna's hand. And they are acting as instruments in Krishna's hand, and that's why they are approaching other people. And they know that ultimately it will benefit that person. At present, he is not accepting, he's rejecting, he's getting annoyed. But once he comes into Krishna consciousness, he will be thankful to me. He will heal, he will come closer to Krishna. So that's why if our intention and our execution is proper, we will be able to make devotees. And we should always remember that we should not get disturbed by these things. So a devotee neither disturbs somebody, neither gets disturbed by anyone. If somebody is saying bad words about him, he knows he will take it very lightly, and that's why he is happy. Like Prahlad Maharaj faced so many difficulties. His father Hiranyakashipu tried to kill him in so many ways, but Prahlad Maharaj only remembered Krishna. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. He has full 100% surrender to Krishna. And that's why he was not even touched by any of these difficulties. He didn't got disturbed at all. And that is a quality of a devotee. We cannot disturb by these challenges of our life. We are not disturbed. And that's why we are always situated equally in our life. These emotions of happiness, distress, fear, anxiety, which are troubling a materialistic, will not be able to touch us. We will become mukta, we will become free from all these emotions of this ups and downs of material life. These waves of material life will not affect us. A materialistic people is always fearful of losing something, of losing his property, of losing his relatives. But we know that Prabhupada's name is only Abhay. He became fearless. So fearlessness quality comes only when we have surrender to Lord Krishna. And we know nowadays so many people are suffering from problems of anxiety, depression, and all. Why? Because they are not able to achieve what they want, or they have lost what they had. That is the main reason of their dissatisfaction. But a devotee try to situate himself equally in all these conditions. He doesn't get troubled by all these problems. And in verse number 16, again, some other good qualities. He's anapeksha, suchir daksha, udasino, gatha vyatha, sarvarambha parityagi. Yo madbhakta same priya. So anapeksha means, we have learned Hindi word paksha. Paksha means to take side of somebody. His anapeksha means he doesn't take side of anybody. He's very neutral. He is neutral. He will not fall in the prey of siding oneself and not siding oneself. So he's neutral. Then he is clean. He's very pure, not only internally but also externally. So a devotee takes 2-3 times bath. He wears clean clothes. And then internally, how he's clean? Because he's free from all the 6 anarthas. He becomes clean. And we have learned this also, that a devotee is always expert in whatever he does. He knows that his expertise will help in Krishna consciousness. So whatever service he does for Krishna, he does it expert. He is very expert in doing any service of Krishna. Suppose some Matajis, they are cooking food for Krishna. So they should be so much expert that by tasting that food, Krishna will become so happy. All these gopis and gwalas, they used to serve Krishna, and there should not be any fault. We should try our best. We should be expert. Our material things also require expertness, and we see that when we are expert, we get more promotion and more salaries. So definitely, if we are showing that expertise in Krishna consciousness, how much Krishna will be pleased with us. Then udasino. Udasino means he is carefree. He's not attached to anything materialistic. He don't worry anything. He's so neutral. Okay, carefree he is because he has kept the like his life in the hands of Krishna. He's placed in the his life in the hands of Krishna. So that's why he becomes very carefree. Gathavyata, free from all pains, because definitely he has freed himself from the all material designations. He's not attached. He has developed detachments towards material possession. That's why he becomes so much free. Sarvaram Parityagi, free from all kinds of material endeavors. And so such a devotee is very dear to Lord Sri Krishna. Then 17th verse, again, one who neither rejoices nor grieves, neither laments nor desires, who renounces both auspicious and inauspicious things. Such a devotee is very dear to me. When we get something, we are so happy. When we do something, we lament on it. But the devotee is free from all these dualities of life. Now, we might think here repetition is there. We repeat something again and again. Some devotees say that Prabhupada's books mostly contains that you should chant 16 rounds, you should be a devotee of the Lord, and he repeats so many things in the purports. But why? Because he wants to emphasize that this is important. Whatever is important is repeated again and again. And by repetition, Krishna wants us that we should develop these qualities. The devotee must acquire all these qualifications. Okay. So that's why repetition is there. Like in these verse 18 and 19. Again, we may summarize whatever we have studied in the previous verses. One who is equal to friends and enemies. We have seen that. He's Matra Karuna Evacha, Advaishta. Who is equipoised in honor and dishonor. Any duality, whether he's getting honor, dishonor, heat, cold, happiness, distress, fame or infamy. He is equipoised. Free from contaminating association. This also we have discussed. Ku Sangati Tyag. And you have to do good association. You have to associate with devotees and you have to leave the association of materialistic people. Because we know we become what we associate with. If we are associating ourselves with a drunkard, finally we'll become a drunkard. If we are associating ourselves with the devotees, we will also develop the qualities of that devotees and we can progress in our spiritual life. He's always silent. Silent means, silent doesn't mean that he doesn't talk. The word used is mani. And we have discussed this. Mani, actual silent, means that a person who does not speak nonsense. A person who speaks only about Krishna Katha, Krishna's pastime, is a person who is silent or a real mani, because he does not take any part in the gossips of politics or some movies or some other things of this material world. Such a person is a silent person. So devotee never talks anything other than things related to Krishna and his service. He's satisfied with anything, doesn't care for any residence. We have seen so many, the word uses aniketan in the verse. So aniketan means a person who does not care for any residence. Like the 6 Goswamis of Vrindavan, they used to live under a tree, and the tree also used to change every day. Some days they used to sleep under some tree, and other day they used to sleep in another. So they didn't care for any residence. Prabhupada, if somebody is giving him a hut to reside or a bullock cart to travel, he used to happily accept that. If somebody is giving him a big palace to live, then also he used to happily accept it. He's going into flight here and there, traveling in planes. That also he used to accept. So whatever his devotees, his disciples were giving him, he was accepting it joyfully. He never used to long for anything, and if anything comes by his own accord, he used to accept that. So that is, he doesn't care whether he is getting somewhere to live or not. He's satisfied in everything. He's fixed in knowledge, he's engaged in devotional service. Always such a person is very dear to Lord Shri Krishna. And then comes the final verse of this chapter, verse number 20. Ye tu dharmam dharmamritta idam yathoktam parupasate shatta dhanmat parma bhaktaste ativume priyah. Those who follow this imperishable path of devotional service and who completely engage themselves with faith, making me the supreme goal, are very, very dear to me. So this is the ultimate conclusion of Lord Shri Krishna of this bhakti section. We know that these 7 to 12 chapters were from the bhakti section. They were talking about mostly devotional service, bhakti yoga. So now Krishna has given the conclusion that persons who are following this imperishable path of devotional service, unmotivated, unflinching. So if somebody is following this path and completely engaging himself with faith, again Shraddha. So we have learned that this faith is very important. Faith is the starting point. We start a devotional service and then it comes to Nishtha. Nishtha means firm faith, which doesn't get deviated by anything. And from Nishtha then comes Asakti, Ruchi, Bhav and Prem level. So if somebody's faith is only weak, then he cannot make progress in the spiritual life. And we all have learned this again and again, that we have to make Krishna as our ultimate goal and work towards it. So if we know our goal, we know the process, we have to just follow it. Prabhupada has given us this process of Krishna consciousness, and he says it's su sukham kartum avayam. It is very joyful to perform, very simple and easy. It's not difficult like in Dhyan Yoga and Gyan Yoga. Yes, it's not cheap. We have to endeavor for it, but it gives so much of pleasure to us. It can be performed so easily in Kali Yuga, and that is the only thing, chanting of the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, which is recommended for this age of Kali Yuga. And that alone is enough to make ourselves dear to Krishna, to attain our ultimate goal, that is going back to Godhead. And in this verse, Prabhupada says something. He says, in this chapter, it is decided that through good association, one develops attachment for pure devotional service and thereby accepts a bona fide spiritual master, and from him begins to hear and chant and observe the regulative principles of devotional service with faith, attachment, and devotion, and thus becomes engaged in the transcendental service of the Lord. This path is recommended in this chapter. Therefore, there is no doubt that devotional service is the only absolute path for self-realization, for the attainment of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So, when we are in good association, we develop a sort of attachment to this process. And when we develop attachment to this process, we will have a desire to take Diksha from a spiritual master. And once we take that Diksha, then we can steadily follow this path, continue hearing and chanting. Our faith will slowly and slowly increase, and we will engage ourselves in service of the Lord. So this is the path, which is the essence of these 7 chapters of Bhakti Yoga. And Prabhupada says that there is no doubt, essential, there is no doubt. This is the only path, because Arjuna in the beginning of this chapter has asked, who are better? And Krishna has concluded, only the path of devotional service, Bhakti Yoga, is the absolute path for self-realization, not the Paramatma realization or Brahman realization, for the attainment of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And we have learned that even Gyan Yogis and Dhyan Yogis, if by chance they have an association with devotees, then only they can rise up to the level of Bhagwan realization. That is the most part. So this is the last verse of this Bhakti Yoga section. So we conclude the 12th chapter today. If anybody has any comments, something.
Mataji,
Yes,
so
Hare.
Hare Krishna. So these qualities, what a devotee must possess, that what Krishna has explained. So if he has a connection with Krishna, that means he has a realization that he is the soul, and there is a super soul in everybody. And you said that that is the eternal. And if he doesn't have, it is, if you don't have it, it is like on bodily platform, it is not eternal. Correct. So can you just talk more about, suppose somebody who doesn't know any of this devotional service, what kind of compassion he is having? Is it an attachment, we would call it as? What kind of?
We have learned it so many times that he may be getting some punya out of it. Somebody compassionate, like we have already always give the example of somebody going and just taking the shirt of a drowning man.
Yes.
That is also compassion. He's trying to save that person, but he has not able to take out that person. Only the shirt came with him. So the compassion and the good qualities of a materialistic people will always remain on that mental platform or bodily platform.
Right.
Because so that's why, yes.
And also they will differentiate from person to person. They cannot be Advaita Sarvabhutana. Yeah.
Like in that verse, Vidya Vinay Sampane, Brahmane Gavi Hastini, Suniche Vashpakicha, Pandita Samadarshina. So who is a Pandita, who is a pure devotee? He never differentiates between any other living entities.
Yes.
Okay. And like a person may be more compassionate towards his family members, to his immediate relatives, or to his society, to his own country. Okay. He will be limited to that level only. But like Prabhupada, he was compassionate towards all the living entities. He went to the West, he preached there. He had so much of compassion. Materialistic people may be attached to his country, his society, his family, his state. He will work for that. Okay, he's working good. He's doing good for others. He has that feeling that I should do something for others. Okay, he has that good qualities. But we know that however good we may do, but that will be still at that material platform, because that is for the pleasure of the body, and that will vanish as the body goes.
The consciousness is missing.
That consciousness is missing, that connection is missing, and this Krishna consciousness movement is trying to bring that feeling. And that's why Prabhupada used to say that whole world can live in this ISKCON society, because he's preaching we as soul, and we are so compassionate that we are trying to bring more and more souls. Why? Because that will lead them to eternity. That will free themselves from this cycle of birth, age, old, and disease. And if we are compassionate on material platform, again we have to come to
so there is an attachment with that whatever compassion they are showing, and then because of that they will gain some punya, and then they will take birth. Yeah.
So that is the difference between a compassion of a materialistic and compassion devotee.
One more question, Mataji. On the verse number 12.8, where we say that surrender your mind and intelligence to Krishna, and then he said, you will definitely come to me. And that is the highest stage of Bhakti Yoga that is defined among the hierarchy, right? So how do we correlate that with reference to our, there are 9, the Bhakti is there, right? Bhava Bhakti, Prem Bhakti. So what is that state, whatever Krishna is defining there with reference to that?
Yes. So we have discussed last time that this is Rag Anuga Bhakti. And in that Rag Anuga Bhakti also, there are 2 types, like one is Smaranatmika and one is Mananatmika. So Mananatmika is when we are using our contemplation or using our intelligence in serving Krishna. But higher than that is Smaranatmika, when we are naturally thinking of Krishna 24 hours by day. And definitely that is the stage of Bhav and Prem.
So this is Anuraga Bhakti, you are saying.
Raga Anuga Bhakti.
Raga Anuga.
There is so much attachment, and like he cannot think anything other than Krishna. His mind and intelligence is completely fixed in Krishna. It naturally goes through. So that is like definitely at the stage of Bhav and Prem. And Bhav also, we know that at the level of Bhav also, like we learned the story of this King Bharata. We say he was on that stage. But that stage also to teach us a lesson that we can develop attachment to something. We have developed an attachment to that deer. Okay. So this is prema bhakti, which is the highest, and I think so. This verse is relating to that prema bhakti. We gave example of Prabhupada and elevated devotees in that context also.
Okay, thank you so much, Mataji.
Okay. Actually, I just stopped the recording. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Yeah, thank you, Mataji.
Wanted to